This is the second shooting of this video because the first shooting went to crap because I had a card error. Isn't it wonderful? Modern technology. But either way, I'm talking to you now, and the whole purpose of this video is to talk about the mechanisms of divination. Alright, you know I've got an affinity with pieces of wood with letters printed on it and things that slide around the surface. You know I also have an affinity with decks of cards. Okay, yep, tarot, definitely tarot. There we go. And I was talking about the fact that the tools themselves have benefits but also have restrictions. If you're using a symbol-based system, which has symbolism in it, this can be used very intuitively, taking into account your own knowledge and your own research. But then you end up finding yourself like following one particular train of thought, like this one's specific for the Golden Dawn. So therefore the imagery is connected to the ideas of the Golden Dawn. So you'd have to then research them yourself. It's got quite an interesting plan here where the first 10 entrances on this card deal with the Tree of Life, which is essentially here. And this can be mapped out on the body for the purposes of meditation or for spiritual protection, with the head going there. So you've got one sphere above and 2 and 3 either side of your head. You've got these two on your shoulders, this one in the heart, these two on your hips, that for the groin and that for the feet. So if you're doing sort of like energy work, maybe there'll be a connection with an uncomfortableness in your energy field and a location on the Tree of Life, so maybe that can then inspire you as to what needs rebalancing, potentially, if that's where you wanted to go. So even a deck like this can be used connected with spiritual healing, because then you can spend a bit of time meditating on whatever, like Chesed, the 4th sphere, 1, 2, 3, 4th sphere. If that was the one, that's connected to mercy and the number 4 in the tarot. So therefore you find a number 4 somewhere, and maybe that could be an object of your meditation, and maybe you could focus it a little bit more on the particular suit which deals with the right elements, and maybe that will also help to inform you. And maybe that the symbolism of the number, the imagery within the pip card itself, will also help to fortify, your concentration and your meditation. So it can be used that way, and it can be used as a straight divination deck. But remember, when I described the use of the Tree of Life in that way, what I'm describing is not the tool. This is like the map, not the territory, if you get my drift. The territory, so to speak, being your energy field. What does that then tell you? That the tools themselves, even though they look great, they feel great, you might get on with them, you might enjoy them, they are in fact just tools, an aid to understanding. And also through sortilege and randomly dishing them out, that then gives you a moment of contemplation, thinking, well, could that image relate to some of the thoughts and feelings going on inside me? Once again, it's the mind and the energy field which is the real tool. The tools themselves are absolutely zippity squat. I like them, I think they're fun, I think they can be instructive, and they can aid you with forms of spiritual contemplation. That goes with tarot and runes and astrology and crystals, and basically you name it, and little element thingy bobs which do all their stuff as well. It's essentially all part of the same thing, but the way in which we approach it intellectually and emotionally can affect the way in which we experience either with the results or the apparent results. So what I'm telling you here is that it's your energy field and your mind which is the main tool of divination, and all this other fun witchy stuff of candles and pentagrams and the rest of it. These are just, things which aid you essentially in receptive meditation. They aid you in a form of prayer, basically. It's the scary P word which people in occultism don't feel comfortable using, but that's essentially what it essentially is. An aid to prayer, possibly even for some an aid to worship. Remember that the Golden Dawn is heavily Christian inspired. Okay, as is the Crowley Thoth, as is, a few of the other more up-to-date, shall we say, Western tarots, which aren't specifically focusing on fun, silly, fluffy things like that, or more religiously specific tarot like this one here, if you get my drift here. I mean, most of the traditions which I've picked up over the years would have been Judeo-Christian inspired, but with pagan components changing the attitude and the vibration, which is basically where I'm standing as far as my symbol system is concerned. For that reason, specifically, as well as due to its intense complexity of artwork and appreciating it just as a form of art, the Night Sun Tarot is pretty orgasmic. The complexity of the imagery there is great, but again, it's more like a tool of spiritual education, contemplation in its deck form. It's not specifically for divination. So what actually is the divination process? The divination process is not to do with the things which specifically come out in the reading, but to do with the changes that happen in your mind. I'm a firm believer that a very good psychic or clairvoyant, who's even better than myself, will be able to use a tarot deck which is 100% blank, just white cards, and it will be the action of picking up the cards and shuffling them and laying them out in a pattern, which would be the thing that will create the inspiration. Because if you've got like 3 blank cards in front of you, but you know one is a position for the past, one is for the present, one is for the future, one is for the deep subconscious, the conscious and the conscious, one is for this, that and the other, and you just look at them in your state of tranquil meditation, trying to be receptive to thoughts and feelings happening and allowing the inner dialogue inside your mind to be sculpted by what you feel on some particular level in each position, then that becomes the thing which creates the reading. So once again, these are essentially ritual tools and accessories, as the archaeologists would call them. Okay, ritual tools and accessories. These are not the thing which defines what I think or what I feel or anything. This is a tool to assist me in thinking about things in a different way. As you explore different tarot decks with the passage of time in your journey, you will be changing your perspective on spiritual issues and changing the meanings of these things, and these things will grow with you, which is part of the invisible rewards which comes from playing with cool, fun, new agey like meditation and divination tools. That's essentially what they're really about. Alright, they're an aid to your personal growth and change when it comes to spiritual things. It's when you take the I suppose the power of the contemplation of these more high magic symbols and find a way of translating that into your real life, that you've got the ability to potentially create change in your material life as a result of how you change as an individual. That's the way in which I kind of like perceive it. But remember, the actual divination tool is your brain, it's your body, it is your energy field, it is your psyche, your spirit. That's the actual thing that you've got to work on. And you work through it, through being presented with the questions and problems that your clients have. And then doing a combination between the reading method itself and an inner conversation between what you see in the cards, what comes through to you as far as like what it could possibly mean, anything that's coming through directly into into your mind suddenly appearing there, and also your knowledge of the situation. Okay, because occasionally as a reader you end up getting things happening in your mind's eye when you feel inspired to say what's happening in your mind's eye. All right, you may feel that inspiration, but that's not necessarily clear-minded, well thought out intuition. Instead, what that is something a little different. Okay, that's something which needs to be put to the test inside you as to whether it is a genuine answer to a particular problem or question. Now, if it's too out of the park, so to speak, too out of reality, out of the situation, then you can't say it. Right? And you can't see that as being the truth. We need to be able to mindfully look at what goes on inside the mind, and using a certain point of analytical skills, kind of like winnow away at the stuff which isn't relevant, the stuff which isn't connected to the situation. Just like when you had a maths problem in school, okay? Let's say it was a multiple choice one. Then you'd have to work out which answer was right. Not just one that looks right, but the answer that was right. And you'd have to exclude, well, that can't be because the decimal point's in the wrong place. That can't be because the numbers to the left of the decimal point are too great, or whatever. You have to work out contextually what is right for the answer to the question itself. The same is true when you're doing an actual tarot reading. The same is true when you're actually doing rune readings, because things will pop into your head. It's the function of the mind. We learn this when we're doing mindfulness meditation. It's the function of the mind to have thought processes. But those thought processes could be random, could be based upon things happening in the body, could be connected to a past memory, and all sorts of things. So that's why you're a filter. Okay, for the client base, you have to be a filter for the client base, so that you're filtering out the stuff which is irrelevant to the situation, or maybe squirreling a few thoughts and feelings back into your mind, thinking this might be useful further on down the line with this client, but it's not relevant yet. Does that make sense? I don't know whether it does or not. It's trying to explain something unusual and abnormal and non-physical in basically the best terms that I can, on a Friday afternoon on the run up to Christmas. If this makes sense, let me know. Comment section, by all means, thumbs up, click the bell, and don't forget to subscribe, because that's pretty important, because I'm on YouTube now, and that's what we do on YouTube, okay? And I'll speak to you again very soon. I won't be doing any videos during Christmas week itself, and I will start again in the new year, and then you can expect to see my delightful face, bringing you joy and excitement, entertainment, and a little bit of something dark to give you a little shiver down your spine, because I'm about that too, if you know what I mean. Keep cool. Bye for now.